Hi, what here, and welcome to the first post-season autopsy and I guess the first step towards pre-season. The season ended on somewhat of a bit of a downer. We threw away far too many points in the closing stages, 9 in the last 5 games, and then disappointingly played really well played well in the final and probably should have won it, but our finishing let us down. Angol and Todorov had a bad game, and we couldn't seem to break the deadlock. And fair play to them, they did. I think it was Parr, if I remember rightly, was the scorer. Yeah, Paul Parr. So they deservedly went through. The good news was there was a sorry, it was going to show if we hadn't dropped the points clearly. Those points that we dropped would have more than made our promotion safe. 82 points was the number that I targeted with, I think it was 7 or 8 games to go, and we fell short of it. So kind of only got ourselves to blame, by which I mean me. Good news was Jack Bridge won Player of the Year, which I think was fair enough looking at his average rating and his assists. Orozinski had some good clean sheets. Burton at Cambridge was fantastic, but is sort of out of our reach. Jonathan Bond, was he at Newcastle at one point? No, I think I might have signed him in a different iteration of this game once. I don't think he's as good. Orozinski was is sought after. We had player of the match for Colvin up there with 6 with a few others. Goals wise, we shared it around a bit more. Herdman got 11, but if you actually look, he got it from 22 games. So when you sort it by, you can't sort by minutes per goal. Average minutes per goal. There you go. James Vaughan scored 10. Yeah, 12 for Bennett, and I think 11 from 22 games or 187 minutes is pretty good going. James Vaughan obviously is a good number, but he's there towards the end of his career. 50 shots, 11 goals, pretty impressive thing to have. 18 and 7 is pretty good for Usama. But anyway, Tom Herdman won goal of the season, which was fantastic. Now, strangely enough, we didn't even seem to be in the mix for... We won Manager of the Month twice, which is... I don't think anyone won it more than us. Michael Duff won it twice, Kuehl won it twice, McCall won it once, Lunt won it once, which seems strange. And then Manager of the Year, Harry Kuehl just won it, which is a bit strange because they only scraped. They only got 2 more points than they did the year before, so I wouldn't say they performed outstandingly or anything like that. I mean, I could understand the Cheltenham boss getting it, or even someone that avoided relegation. I'm not saying it should necessarily have been me, but this just seems like a pretty weird choice. If we look at transfer history, for example, yeah, they've not really had to sell anyone. They've not really bought anyone, so they haven't changed their squad. That was the year before when they got rid of a player, so they haven't really had to sell anyone. So it's a bit of a weird choice, if I'm being honest, but that's what they've done. Now, what I haven't done is I haven't gone and offered any contracts to any of my staff quite yet. The reason being, I have had a overhaul of the squad to an extent, in terms of this is what we're kind of working with at the moment. The comparison is, and I'll just do it on this screen, if we look at the under 23s, I've got 3 goalkeepers lined up in reserve, right? And I've got Joe Stokes, who I think is a good player as well. The rest of them are listed for sale, or they are on youth contracts and I can't list them for sale. Yeah. Rockman is listed for sale, it's just not showing up for some reason. And if I look at contract, you'll see that the only ones that aren't sort of surplus to requirement and therefore I'm not looking to get rid of actively are the 3 goalkeepers and Zach Hemming. Now, those goalkeepers are going to have to go out on loan or go for sale or something, but they're not worth anything, so I might as well just try and find them loans to see if we can actually build them some credibility and get them sold on. The rest of these, in terms of what's there, we're losing these 7, is it? Yeah, we're losing these 7 at the end of the season. That says 860 a month, but the rest of them are on contracts, and we need to try and get rid of them. 600 quid a week for Hayden is something I need to get rid of. If we look at finances, it's nicely summed up by looking at our wage structure. If we scroll to the bottom, surplus requirements, 4 grand. So 860 of that's going already. Yep, so that's roughly 20% of it. But the other 80%, the other 3,200, 32 technically, and there'll be a way that number's made up because it calculates some other cost as well. But roughly 75 to 80% of it's going to still be there as cost at the end of June. So we have to try and get them moved on because our budget is not great. We've got 600 grand more in the bank than we had the previous year. However, we do have these still to pay for, the youth facilities and training facilities, and I'm not sure when that money is going to come out, whether it has already. I don't believe it has, because I believe the 1.7 million was used for the ground. So last season we had 1.7 for ground maintenance. Do we have anywhere where, where's this going to show up basically is interesting. I don't know what director emoluments, amount of director wages and bonuses paid out by the club. Right, okay. We're still obviously paying our loan as well. If we then go to income, we sort it by this season. See, season tickets we only made 107,000, which is not a lot. We don't have many season ticket holders compared to some other clubs, so hopefully that'll grow this season now that we've stayed in the league. Corporate facilities, sponsorship, that's something we're going to look at in a second. Fundraising, we didn't get much, and no investment. Obviously we had investments last year, but nothing this year. If we then go to sponsors, I've got all of these up for renewal. So that's 8, 14, 15, 18.4. Okay, so 18.4 in sponsorship is due for renewal. Now, I believe they were all set way back when we were in, there must have been back in Vanarama National North. So hopefully being 2 divisions higher, I don't think I'd be being foolish to say I'd like that to be over 100 grand. If we compare ourselves to the others in the league, and how do you do that again? Sponsorship income, 100 grand would still make us bottom. So we need it to be in the region of here, I think, to be sensible, but it's not going to be a massive sum of money. I have been through all of the scouting. I found it much easier way of doing this once you've got quite a lot of them to go through, which is to add them to the default shortlist. If I go to the shortlist and go default, you'll see that it's actually empty. There's no one in it. So when I have this full, I add all of them. So you can just, once there's some in there, you can click select all and then right click and move them all to the shortlist. And then once you're in a shortlist, you can start looking them by position, which is really helpful. So that's what I've done. And what I've managed to do is I've got an alternative. So if we sold Orezinski, for example, he would be one potential target. He's the only one in that list at the moment. There's a general list, which is just basically people we're keeping an eye on, and I'd like to see if there's any news on them if it comes through. We've then got squad. So there's 14 players in here that I think could help strengthen the squad, including one goalkeeper where I've got an inquiry out against him. And then we've got a first 11. There we go. So with a goalkeeper in it, which is Tom Scott, he compares very favourably with Orozinski, and obviously Orozinski is wanted by other teams. So this guy's going to be free. So as long as I can agree a deal with him, we're looking to sell Orozinski. And then there's 4 centre backs, and I know I love a centre back, but these are much better. If you look at Walcott, for example, his heading's not great, but if you compare him with our best centre back, which is a Gungbo, compare with Blythe, a Gungbo, and then you set it to defensive roles. Central defender, he's not as good at heading, but he's better at marking considerably, slightly better at tackling. All of this is much of a muchness. Aggression being lower is not necessarily a bad thing. Composure is slightly worse, but concentration is far better. So that balances out in Malachi's favour as well. They're a similar age. They're both 20. Positioning, he's got a slight advantage as well. Height-wise, he's 3 inches taller. Not as heavy. Not that I'm saying 14'4" is necessarily heavy for 6'1". But if you look, his jumping reach is 20. There's players who I've looked at who are 6'8" who can jump 18. So basically what this is saying to me is, because he's got good pace, this lad has some strong legs on him. Right? It's probably good that he isn't aggressive, because he'd probably break someone in half. So anyway, I think that's an absolute no-brainer, especially on the basis that he would be free. The challenge is there are far better clubs than me after him. Right? So realistically, that is probably no interest at all once all the other clubs get wind that he's free. If I made an offer though of nothing for him, you know what? If we offer £5,000 for him, see what they say. Anyway, and then there's others as well in here as well, so they're much better. We've also got a striker, Brian Lasme, who we're looking to get on free. But yeah, there's a few players in there that we're looking at to strengthen our team. I have asked for a new contract because we've got 1 year left to run. But whilst I've been messing about with this squad, I've upset a few of them. But I don't really care. None of the players that I want to keep are upset, or in fact, some of them are actually siding with me. And I've been promised a new contract. So that's why I haven't offered anything to the staff yet. It's only allowing me to offer 1 year terms, and I'm wondering if that's because I've only got 1 year left. So we're going to continue towards the point of everyone else basically being available. Spending more, Wade offer. Non-negotiable offer for Matty Wade. So these are just people I'm trying to get rid of. So Matty Wade for free. Accept. Don't see why I wouldn't. Spennymoor makes Thackeray offer. So he's got quite a while left on his contract. They want us to pay 40 quid a week. So basically, and then have him for free. But that just saves me 120 quid a week, doesn't it? For however many years we've got left on him. 2 years. So 120 quid a week. 6 grand a year. 12 grand. Saves me 12 grand. Yeah, accept. Actually, don't accept. Stall. And then offer to clubs for free. Selling team wage contribution. Nothing. There we go. Wilson. Scotty Wilson. Okay, I have made him available for transfer, so let's have a look. So I asked them for 5 grand up front and then 2 lots of 2.5 grand over based on how much they paid plus 25% fee here. So I'm going to accept that from them. And then here they're offering exactly the same. I'm going to accept that as well. So we could be getting rid of Scott Wilson, and he's another 200 quid on our wage bill that we don't want. Wrightson, now he's another 100 quid I don't want. This here they want me to basically pay his wages, and I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's until the end of my contract, until the end of the new one. My contract's about to finish, so that's going to be declined. And then AFC Telford and Maidstone. Maidstone are actually offering me money for a guy that's about to be free, so I'll accept that offer. And we'll reject that one because there's no real point in it. And then we can go offer to clubs. Just be cheeky and ask for a bit more. We'll come back to this. Bridge Team of the Year bonus activated. He gets 2.5 grand for that. You've well and truly earned it, mate. Well done. And then transfers. Is that the... That's that one there, yeah? Because I've stalled the offer. Okay, good stuff. Both set on little initial budgets. 39k a week and 268k. Wow, that's a lot more than I thought it would be. Youth and training facilities. Training and youth facilities, it's going to cost 700 grand and it's going to take 6 months. So finances, it's actually all come out now. Expenditure would help if I looked at that. This season, ground maintenance, there you go, 700 grand. Perfect. So we're down to sort of where we were last year in terms of balance. Yeah, I think we were at about 700k last May. Maybe not, but anyway, so we're going to be losing money again. If I then go to Club Vision, ongoing, there you go, it has actually started. So that is, and it is actually making progress. So that's great. So we're going to be upgrading those. If I then go into Club Info Facilities, does it tell me in here that they're upgrading them? We were meant to do the ground as well, weren't we? Relay the pitch. What happened to that? Okay. Club Vision. All. Relay pitch. Completed. So they must have done it, it's just still in poor condition. Oh well. So we'll have to spend a lot more money. Means we could actually buy a player for £1 million. Blythe Spartans buying a player for £1 million. Wow. We're not going to, but just nice to know we could. Right. If I then go back to the under 23s and have a look, Ollie Scott is wanted for transfer as well. Let's go. Transfer, offer to clubs, that amount of money there, and then percentage in next sale. Offer to clubs. Right, Sidden's already up. Cameron King. Good, we'd like to get rid of him. But it's mainly Hayden we want rid of. His wages are going to put people off. Scotty Wilson, people are in for. Matty Wade, they're in for. And Thackeray, they're in for. Right, let's get to the important bit, which is my new contract. Okay. Alright, so this is just the email, right? Okay. A new contract on $1,500 a week. What am I currently on? Home. Contract. So I'm already on $1,500 a week. And then I get promotion and relegation clause. And I've got a year left. So what they're saying is we'll extend it by 1 year. Right. So I definitely want more than that, but you won't offer me it. Which is really annoying. Promotion wage rise should be 25. 25 if I get relegated. 50% if someone offers me a new job. Add clause, contract extension after promotion. Add bonus. Not bothered about the bonus, to be honest. There should be a relegation clause of basically you get fired. You know, relegation wage drop should be able to go up to 100, for example. Promotion wage rise. I want a third basically, but you can't give me that, so we'll go with 35. So that'll take me to £2,000. Or 25% will take me to 2.5. Right. So happy with all of that. That I'm fine with. not fine with that. I'm not taking a pay cut. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you earn, but I'm refusing to take a pay cut. I've just nearly got you into League One, for goodness sake. So, there's my new contract sorted. New deal. Only difference there is 50% compensation, and I get a contract extension if I get promoted, and obviously I get a pay rise as well. So my pay would go up to well, whatever a quarter of that is, so 375, so it'd be 1875 a week, and then I'd get a 2-year extension, so I'd have a contract through to 2026, which would be amazing. Right, Maidstone and offer Scott offer. Ah, right, okay. Doesn't he have like no time left on his contract? Accept offer. You've just signed a new contract. I'm delighted to have signed a deal. No brainer to stay for longer. What? Are you confident of being able to bring success to this team, having so far been unable to do so? What a ridiculous question. I've hit every single thing they've asked, like league-wise, every single thing they've asked me to do has been to stay up. And I've got them promoted twice and then narrowly missed out on getting in League 1. There should just be a what a stupid question button. Okay, so you don't have to rub it in. Crew. 4 teams to lose to. Crew. Bridge creates new record. Beat his own record from the year before. Rosinski sets equals Hemming's record from the year before. Well done him. He is wanted. Honestly, I would transfer sets, transfer status. £400 confirm. Right. Under 23s. I wish you could just sort it by certain features, like has someone made a bid for you or not. Right, so he's gonna go, so we're left with Corey McEwen. Right, Cameron King, wanted by Boston. Vanarama National League North. Now, how old is he? 26. So no one's going to buy him. Offer to clubs. 10 grand. And then each of those can be £2.5 grand. Let's offer that and see what happens. Cameron King, Jack Hunter. No one wants him. Let's just set a transfer price for him. For 10 grand. It's more the wages I want rid of than really the money, but Hayden. It's definitely one I want rid of. Good player, but it's just not worth what I'm paying him anymore. Reece Evans. Right, okay. Continue. Right, there is an offer, so I'll have a look at that. Boston, an offer for King. Wow, so they met what I wanted from. Accept offer. That'll be good because he's on a wage as well. Tottenham stall over Walcott. Backroom team advice. And they've rejected my inquiry about Leo Fish. So I just think he's a good young keeper. So if I compared him with Ross Hickey, for example, who's a year older, very similar here. 6 inches shorter, mind. His handling's better, his kicking's better, his one-on-ones are better, his reflexes are better. His anticipation's better, concentration's better, his decisions aren't as good, his positioning's better considerably, and his agility's better. So everything about him realistically is better. 6 inches shorter, his aerial reach is better. If I then compare him with Matthew Turner, yep, who's 2 years older than him. Yeah, he's not as good here, but all of here is better, better. It's like giveaways here, but better here, better positioning, just all round better. And then Weston is just a no contest. And if I even compared him against Zach Hemming, command of area is better for Hemming. This is kicking slightly better. You know, there's not a lot in it. Reflexes. There's not a lot in it, which is why I like this guy. I do like this guy. So, transfer. Make an offer. Let's put that in. So 20% you can have. I'll give you 5 for him. No, 20. We agreed on 20. Add players to exchange. Who might they want? Let's give them Bruce Evans. So let's remove that. Let's give them 7.5. Okay, that is the end of this episode. I am going to try and get some of my staff now signed up to contracts. And I'll come back for the next episode once I have done that, which hopefully will not take too long. We can then push forward with some of the sales, hopefully, and hopefully some of the offers that we have made for incoming players as well. So Leo Fish and Malachi Walcott. I have offered money for him to try and get in advance of all of this lot who are going to start bidding more for his wages. So hopefully Tottenham don't take too long. And then out, obviously we've got a plethora of players we are wanting to get rid of. Yeah, that is it. So I'll see you back here for the next one. Until then, stay safe. Bye-bye.